Good afternoon. Because Julie was gracious enough to give me her time, I'm going to read her statement first, and then I'll read mine. This is Julie Ghana's statement. I have come to ask you, why do you hold time for the public speakers in the middle of both the workday and the school day? Why don't the majority of board members urge the chair of the board to change the time to a more reasonable hour? No policy changes are needed, just a revamping of your schedule on the agenda. You will recall that you have been given a copy of your own policy on public speaking at a board meeting last year. As has been requested before, for the next meeting and for the rest of the school year, please reschedule the time for public speakers to a more reasonable hour scheduled from 5:30 to 6 p.m. Remember, you are denying your constituents their rights by holding the time for public speaking in the middle of the school and the workday. Now I'll get to mine. Good afternoon. My name is Brandy Paternoster, and these are my fourth grade twins, Dylan and Jadyn. They have attended Manatee Bay Elementary in Weston since the first grade. They passed the third grade last year, according to their teachers and according to their report cards. But the district says they must be retained. My children met test participation requirement by signing the FSA test booklet and breaking the seal. At no time was I ever notified that either child has a reading deficiency. 2 days before school ended, the principal advised us that without a test score, both children did not meet the criteria to be promoted to the fourth grade. I requested that a portfolio of their schoolwork be compiled to prove proficiency as outlined in the state administrative code, and was told that such a thing does not exist. I demanded that my children be promoted based on their report cards, per Florida Statute 1008.25, which clearly states that requests for good cause exemptions for students from the mandatory retention requirement shall consist only of the existing PMP, IEP, report card, or student portfolio, but I was ignored. The principal stated that it was coming down from the district and that without a test score, her hands were tied. Let's get them to the fourth grade, she said. That's where they should be. Just have them take the SAT 10 test and this can all be resolved. I refused any additional testing because test participation requirement had already been met and our children are more than a test score. As part of the school board's case against us in the third grade retention lawsuit, the principal filed an affidavit. Here is a quote. Based on the above information and my numerous years as an educator, I do not believe either student has the reading ability to complete fourth grade material. This is a direct quote from the principal's sworn statement. Let that sink in. Back in June, all they needed was a test score to promote. Now, all of a sudden, they're not even proficient. You see, in addition to providing the facts and dates and emails and documents as required of her in her affidavit, this educator made a choice. Her statement could have read, because they don't meet the state requirement, or because they don't have a test score. And though I don't agree with either statement, they would have supported the district's stance without crossing any lines. But she didn't. She made a choice for a test score. I do not believe either student has the reading ability to complete fourth grade material. She chose to lie. I don't know if her statement was influenced by her supervisors. I suspect that it was, or if she chose those words all by herself. We may never know, but make no mistake, she made a choice. Mrs. Devon made a choice to not stand up for children who were present in the classroom for 180 days of work, who do not have a reading deficiency and who clearly are on grade level. She chose not to support her teachers whom she hired or their ability to teach and grade students effectively and accurately. She chose not to trust in their teaching certificates or their degrees or their most basic moral character. She chose not to back her own school or the systems that she has put in place to ensure her wards navigate the education system successfully. Mrs. Devon chose to support a testing system that is broken, and in doing so betrayed it all. Her statement says that her school failed to catch not one, but 2 students who supposedly can't keep up, but passed all subjects. It says that her hiring practices failed. It says that 2 good teachers are incompetent liars. It says that 2 amazing children are failures for a test score. Mrs. Devon chose to sacrifice 2 children to the gods of the test, presumably to garner some unimaginable favor from above. She chose wrong. And you, as school board members, chose wrong if you decided to appeal Judge Geaver's ruling. Her ruling untied your hands and gave you the opportunity to say, you know what, we screwed up, but let's make it better. We're gonna fix it now. But you didn't. I leave you with one final thought. My tax dollars, your tax dollars, are paying for lawyers to fight against children who are clearly proficient as defined by the letter of the law, to punish me for standing up and saying no to a flawed testing system. Our tax dollars are being used to appeal the judge's ruling in our favor that said, yes, the Florida Department of Education and the Broward County School Board did indeed act unlawfully, to make an example of us for daring to have a voice and to ensure that no one else will ever be brave enough to do the same. Let me be clear. I will not go quietly into the night. I stand here for our teachers. I stand here for my children, for all the children. They are more than a test score. Thank you.